A little bit about how we came up with our design. This is a Piper, this is a good example here, but this is a Piper 1958 Piper P18 airframe. Okay, so and basically all we did is we kept and looked at all the engineering from this, and then we basically took the wing attach points and the landing gear points and we just made them wider 3 inches. So we wanted a well-proven airframe as far as, you know, our design and stuff like that, and the strength. The other thing is that when you look at the Piper Cub, it has 75 years of history. So since we started the company, we had 3 service bulletins. We haven't had one for 10 years. So we just don't have problems with our airplane. I mean, it's a well-proven, and I think the reason why is that we started out with something that's already been proven in the industry. So, so we did it 3 inches wider. We did doors on both sides. And what else we do? And we did a couple beef ups. We looked at Atlee Dodge on the STCs, and we did an X-brace up in this wing structure. And if a lot of people know about what that's about, that was a lot of accidents in Alaska and stuff like that. So that beefs up that area. This general area over here is just basically, one right here does our rudders. This little fixture over here does our landing gear. You know, various components, you know, from rudder pedals and seats, and everything's all TIG welded. We do tack with the MIG, but everything's all TIG welded. A lot of our competition and some other manufacturers use the MIG, so that's where you got like a wire feeder that feeds it in and does your weld, where all of ours are kind of hand. It takes a little bit more time, but it's a lot stronger weld and stuff. We did modify the landing gear. We did what we call a 3x3 landing gear, and basically what that does is moves the axles 3 inches forward, especially on the higher horsepower, and we move the gear 3 inches down so we get a higher angle of attack, so we get better takeoff and stuff. Okay. The rudders, we cheated a little bit on the higher horsepowers. We made a 20% larger rudder, so we wanted a little bit better control, especially at the slow speeds. And to me, the two friends that we all like, and you guys know about power, and you know, the more power you got, the better. You know, we all like how the airplane performs, but we also like to have big rudders and stuff.
Are these parts, especially like the 3x3 gear, interchangeable onto a
Well,
P18?
yeah, good question. We didn't change a lot of this stuff. I mean, you can take our parts, you can take our landing gear. You can't put you can put the landing gear legs on, but where the cabane V, it's, you know, because we're 3 inches wider.
Exactly.
We had to make our cabane V a little bit wider and stuff like that. We also, because we went 3 inches forward, we have to tilt the cabane V, you know, about 3 degrees forward, so we, you know, we have a direct load path going into it and stuff. Yeah.
So you try to line it up, it wouldn't work. Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
And I should probably spoke. We carry 3 different models. The airframe's all the same. There's some beef ups on the Super Legends that we do, but we do an AL3, which is the old classic J3 look with the exposed cylinders, and then we do the Cup Special, the PA11, with the closed, you know, it's O200 with the closed cowling and stuff. And then we do the Super Legend, and we have 2 different engines that we do on that. We do the 115 horse 235. We used to be the old 233, and they discontinued that engine. And we do the 180 horse Titan engine. It's made by Continental. So, and then we also do on MOAC, we put a 195 horse fuel injected engine on it. So, and it's rated at 200. Well, they placarded at 195, but it's putting out about 208 horsepower and stuff. So,
how many of those have you sold?
We got about 4 being built right now. And stuff.
And that's the one sitting out there, the green one?
Gray.
Or gray?
Yeah, it's in the other hangar. So, you know, the story behind MOAC is that MOAC's mother of all Cubs, kind of a name I kind of named it after Moab and stuff like that. But and basically what we did is we just tried to think of everything we could do to make it the ultimate backcountry type aircraft. I mean, we put tons of power on the thing, and then we did a hatch on it, and we actually designed it for the military. So we're kind of looking at the military applications on it. We spent a week at Fort Bragg's demonstrating in front of the Army. The Army was looking into the possibility of going to a fixed wing aircraft and having a mission where they can, say, having a $26 million helicopter, they can take a, you know, $250,000 airplane and basically do a mission and drop off a troop or something like that. And MOAC actually has the capability of doing medevac operations. So you can, it has a hatch in the back where you can put a litter in there if you have to. So,
Back to World War II.
yeah, it's going back to the World War II tactics, and you know, they want to be able to land in, you know, remote fields and drop off a troop or camouflage the airplane, and maybe come back in 2 days and pick up, you know, whoever they need to pick up if they have to.
Big mufflers on there too?
You put mufflers on it and stuff like that. I mean, we have mufflers on our aircraft, but you know, they put, you know, I think they call them FLIR systems, infrared systems, cameras, gimbals on the struts and stuff like that, and they did tests to see how it looked like, what picks up on the profile on the radars and stuff like that.
What are you gonna do with this? This just always
That's a restoration project that
long-term deal?
it was actually one of the guys who used to work here, his airplane, and we just kind of took it off the shelf the other day and dusted it off, and then we're going to go ahead and do the project and stuff like that.
So has every Cub, every Legend been built on that jig?
Yes.
15 years?
For 15 years, we were on order. Well, let's look at this airplane over here. This would be a good. Everybody asks how many airplanes we built. This is order 331. So that's probably 336 over there. I don't know why they skip around, but there's, you know, they kind of move around different stuff. So we usually have about 8 aircraft being built at the single time. So, but
Morning. Morning.
and stuff. So
Protect this metal. You just sand it all down and then paint
yeah,
it or
yeah.
something?
Before it gets painted and stuff, we'll get it all, you know, cleaned up and stuff. And they'll put what they call an acid etch primer on there, and which does a real good job of adhering to the metal. When you glue your fabric on there, you use what they call you know, we use like polytack, and it's MEK base, and a good adhesion primer and paint. If you ever have to pull it off for repairs, if it doesn't pull it off the metal, you got good adhesion. And a lot of people say, well, why don't you powder coat? Well, powder coat doesn't really adhere to metal. It sits on top of the metal. In fact, there's been a lot of concern that you know, the corrosion will actually start happening between the metal and the powder coating nowadays. And you never see it. So so with this type of primer, and then when you know, for any reason you pull the fabric off, and you know, it's glued around the longerons and stuff like that, and you start seeing, you know, bare tubes after you pull it off. It tells you it doesn't get good adhesion and stuff. The other thing is that when Piper built these aircraft, all the tubes are pretty much in what they call an open environmental system. In other words, being a tailwheel aircraft, they used to have little weep holes in the bottom tail there, and they were thinking, well, you know, any kind of moisture or dirt or whatever will drain out those little weep holes from in the tubes and stuff. And that was probably Piper's biggest AD was on the wing struts. In the old days, they used to have little weep holes on the bottom of the struts, and they got plugged up with dirt, and they filled up with water and rust from the inside out. And there was one of their huge ADs where pretty much every Piper Cub out there has to be replaced with steel struts. Otherwise, you got to do a real extensive little, you know, put like a 1/4-inch grids on the bottom of your strut, and you have to use a punch tester. And yeah, so I don't know too many aircraft out there today that are still doing that. I mean, you know, they're just all converting over to this one-time fix for the AD where they're steel struts. So our thing is that we want the same thing on our airframe, is that we want a sealed environment system. So what we do is we do have little weep holes in the tubes in various places, but what we do is we inject it with Corrosion X, and then we cap them off and seal them off so they're closed to the environment. Same thing like they do on the sealed struts. They weld them up, they fill them up with oil or put oil on them, and then they weld them up and they seal them up from the inside, and it keeps the environment from hitting the inside of the tubes. So you know, there's no reason why these aircraft won't be around for 75, 100 years. I mean, you know, they've been, you know, proper taken care of, and plus back when Piper was building these things, you know, it wasn't, I mean, you think back to, you know, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you know, how many Cubs did you see tied up outside? And go out to the airport today, you very rarely ever see a tube Piper aircraft tied up outside.
Much less with wood spar wings.
Yeah, so you just, I mean,
So does that number become the serial number?
No,
Not tied to that? at
no,
all?
that's just strictly how order books work and stuff like that.
And all of these that you're building are sold?
We're a build-to-order company. Everything you see in here, including the one that's not in the jigs, are sold aircraft. So fortunately, we keep ahead of our, we have about a 5 to 6 month backlog. So if you order one today, it'll be 5 to 6 months before you got the airplane. So
I can't wait, never mind.
yeah, there goes on. So right before you walked in, I got a call, or Cassie gave me a message to call a guy, and he says, you got permission from the wife to buy a toy. So as soon as I get done with you guys, I got to make a phone call. So,
And you'll probably give you the name of when I sell somebody's
well,
line.
I'm hoping to sell like
Somebody's line.
two or three right here, with you guys. But a lot of the guys that work here have been here for ever since we started the company. My chief welder, Lane, has been here since 2005 when we started the company. And he does all of our structural welding and stuff. Then that's where the structural welding portion of it is. And then it goes over this stage, and this is where it gets all the trim pieces and tabs and stuff like that. If you compare this airframe to that one, you'll kind of see everything's kind of in the same resemblance as far as how everything's are built and stuff. It's just that these tubes are 3 inches wider. So my story is that we're a little bit more prosperous today than we were back in the 40s when they were building those airplanes.
We're bigger.
Yeah. So, and of course, you've seen both doors, and we do a couple beef ups. On the 180 horses, we do an X brace up here just to help with the load of the extra weight on the firewall. We do an X brace, and we do a little beef up on the tail. And we beefed up the lower longerons to a thicker tube, 049 instead of 035. And we beefed up these two areas right here with a heavier tubes also. So we did quite a few beef ups on the airframe from a Piper Super Cub.
What does the original Cub versus your original basic Legend Cub weight-wise end up? You've got a aluminum wing versus the wood.
Yeah. Well, it's the J3 that we just weighed was 811 pounds, and it has a 85 horse engine on it, no electrical system. And if you bought a AL3, which is exactly the same type of aircraft, except for it's our Super Legend, you used to own one. The new ones are coming in around 815 pounds, 820 pounds. So
They got an 0200.
they got an 0200 in it. Yeah, with electrical system, avionics, and lights. So we worked real hard to cut all the weight out we can on the aircraft. You'll see, this is minute stuff, but you see all these little lightning holes. Now, we don't change the structure of anything, but if we could these are not here for any other reason except for saving weight. So wherever, these little brackets and stuff, and you see where we got like little things in here, right through here, and you think, well, that's pretty minute for us, how you guys are saying, but you do that 1,000 places in the aircraft, you're saving 5 or 6 pounds out of the aircraft. In fact, in 2008, we had a big weight reduction program where we almost knocked out 90 pounds out of an airplane. Just from how we finished the aircraft, we saved 30 pounds on how we finished the aircraft. We used to put this real slick finish on her. We didn't hardly see the tapes on the fabric and stuff like that. And now we put a couple coats of primer on it, we sand it, and then put the paint on there, and we kind of control the environment. But you take a gallon of paint, which is 20 pounds, and you save a gallon or a gallon and a half of paint, you're saving it on the aircraft. So it's, little things like that. We got rid of a fiberglass headliner and went to a fabric headliner. There was 6 or 7 pounds there. We got lithium batteries, which weigh 3 pounds versus we were weighing 15 pounds. So there's a huge savings there. So a little bit here and there. We went to aluminum washers versus going to steel washers. You take all the washers in the airplane, it's like 3 pounds. You go to aluminum washers, half a pound. So, little things like that makes a big difference. And light sport today is just, if you do a light sport certified, we have to restrict it down to 1320 gross. So we're taking a 1750 pound gross airplane and we're derating it down to 1320. And we tested the 1750, but we have to. Light Sport says you have to be 1320 today. Now, hopefully, we're going to see the increase here. There's supposed to be a rulemaking coming out where they're going to increase the gross weight for Light Sport. And if they do that, then we can go up to whatever gross weight they allow us, up to 1750. But so we got this derated down the airplane to 1320. So with the 0200 Continental, we're getting right about 500 pounds useful load. On the 180 horses, we're seeing anything from about 380, useful load in the aircraft, which is basically one person in field to be legal in it. The way we're getting around that now is that we have a build assist program where people are coming in and building the aircraft, and we go to amateur route, and then we can certify the aircraft to 1750. In fact, on the MOAC, we certified up to 2,000 pounds. We feel confident that the aircraft will be safe and can operate at 2,000 pounds. So fingers crossed, maybe all that would change and we can certify aircraft to a higher gross weight.
All right, let's go fly one.
Okay.
Ron Lusher's next, right?
Yep.
Let's go see Ron.
They're all at lunch right now.
I saw him over at the Sulphur Springs Air Show.
I've seen his kids or grandkids over there. Okay, this is our cover and paint shop, and basically this is a Piper Super Cub wing that we're recovering and stuff. We use a Randolph process as a Dacron fabric. You see the roll of fabric right there. It's Synchronite 102. And we use what they call a blanket method. So we stretch that fabric across the wing and pretty much glue it all the way around the perimeter of the wing, and then we'll flip it over and do the same thing. So we don't have any sewn seams in our cover jobs. And then they'll do the rib stitching, do the tapes and reinforcement tapes and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah, we still do the rib stitching. So it takes, after you do 300 plus airplanes, it takes 2 guys 2.5 hours to do a whole wing.
Well versed.
So.
You figure you go to the screws or the rivet, the sock rivet, but the stitching.
Yeah. We like stitching because what it does is that you got your rib and attaches the top and the bottom of the fabric together versus when you have a rivet or a PK screw or whatever they put in there, you're just attaching to the rib. So you get a little bit more strength that way when you rib stitch.
Do they do that in one setting for 2.5 hours, or can they stop and go and come back?
It varies. It depends if it's break or lunchtime or stuff like that. But there's kind of a good example of somebody's doing a rudder over there. You can see how they cover one side and then they'll flip it over and cover the other side. And they use the old classic, irons to 350 degrees to shrink the fabric down. And the new irons don't reach that. They have all these safety features where they don't reach the temperatures like they should.
Those complete ailerons?
Yeah, those are ailerons. And this right here is my son's Cessna 150 that he's gone to Laternal now, so I have other family members that want to learn how to fly. So I decided to go ahead and keep the airplane and repaint it and overhaul the engine and put Garmin G5s in it and spend lots of money on it. The airplane's never going to be worth that much money. And then I decided, well, now's a good time to replace every pulley and every cable in the thing. So we're kind of going through and the whole airplane and putting all new pulleys, and you see that on the wings, and all new control cables and everything in the airplane. So I figured it needs to be a safe airplane. And
So I'm sending to my boys right now. Oh, you got the flap gap seal? Yeah. This is the prototype Legend 150.
yeah, don't do that. Yeah, I think
You've already got a waiting list
yeah.
for people that want that.
So it'll probably be a $75,000 Cessna 150 when it's all said and done, but
Yeah, but you'll know it's right. That's good.
but
That's money well spent.
whatever. It's just whatever. So I got
Your kid already learning it? Or?
yeah, he got his license, and then he's at Laternal now. My son-in-law and my daughter want to learn to fly.
Wow.
So he's taking lessons, and he don't even know I took it down because I just took it down like 2 weeks ago. So he went on a business trip to Australia, but
Your son, though, he got his multi
no,
instrument?
he has he's just a private pilot right now. He's at Laterno getting his ratings right now.
Yeah.
What's the turnout?
It's a aviation university over in Longview. Yeah. Real good college. He wants to be an airline pilot. So he sold in a Legend Cub on his 16th birthday, and then got his license on his 17th birthday last year. So his birthday's on Sunday. And he's going to turn 18. So we sent him to college a year early, and he's doing real well. He has about 250 hours now, and he flies MOAC like he wears it. He scares me when he flies it because he doesn't have any fear and stuff. But
I'm just starting. I got a 16-year-old boy. We're just starting in a 150.
yeah.
What's this big machine?
That is a press for building ribs, and we're going to go out and build our own ribs. And then we found out that building ribs is not as easy as we thought, because when you hydroform or form aluminum, you take a condition of alloy and you have to heat treat it to oak condition or soft condition to form it. So you have a salt bath, and you take it up about 900 degrees. So you got this big tank of basically salt water or whatever it is, and then you dip it, and then you have to put it in a freezer till you get ready to form it, because that slows down the aging process. And it got to be hundred thousands of dollars of equipment, and I says, you know what, I think I'll just sub it out and let somebody else build ribs. So that's what we did. So
Good move.
yeah, so
Actually, that's a real good move.
are you in vehicles? You just want to drive down to the other?
Yep.
Okay,
Store?
let's go to the next building. Yeah,
Do the injection molding?
it's cheaper to put fuel in that than that jet.
Well,
No, that's
you just
right.
need to build a hangar like Rudders, and then you can leave the L-39 right here.
Yeah.
I need my hanger out of that.
Didn't you have some aircraft at Underwire flying out of Robbie's in Louise, Texas? A couple of your airplanes on
Probably. I don't know. We got. I mean,
like a salesman or something
Yeah.
down there. You had a couple.
yeah, we might have.
There
It's
was
hard to
one on-
tell.
Was one on floats.
Everybody back.
Everybody's here.
Okay.
Anyway,
What year is this, Pat? Whatever. Is it 46? I thought it was 41. So it is 46.
So if you redo mine, my 39 will look this good, huh?
Yeah.
The aluminum spars in the top.
Yeah, we put new Dakota wings on it, and the engine has been modified to has an 0200 crank in it, so it's probably 100 horsepower, so 85. And it's got a little customization to it. The owner wanted to put a red stripe and checkers on it and stuff like that. But we haven't even flown it yet. We just ran the engine yesterday on the airplane. But we do about, I would say probably 8 restorations a year. You'll see some various ones. We got a Stearman that we have over here. We have a V-tail Bonanza we're working on. We did a tri-pacer for a guy. We got a couple Super Cubs going on right now that we're restoring. So 40% of our business is just service and restoration and insurance work, and the other 60% Legend aircraft. So we're getting quite a reputation as far as doing high-end restoration work and stuff. So people call me up. I get 2 or 3 calls a week saying, hey, I got a tri-pacer or a Taylorcraft, and I need to have this restored and stuff. And so we start talking. I said, well, first of all, I says, for just the recovery job of this, if we're going to just tear the fabric off the aircraft and recover it and put together, it's $42,000. And they said, well, airplane worth that, especially a Taylorcraft. I says, well, I mean,
That's about right.
it's 400 hours of labor just to get it covered and painted and stuff. You kind of figure out the math plus your materials. And I says, to be honest with you, most of them are double that amount when they come out of here. So it's not uncommon that, a Super Cub will have, $150,000 in a Super Cub when it's all finished up. Time they go through the engine and all the instruments, the new interior and everything else. So, but it's the good thing about what we do is that we try to get them out within about 6 months. So when we receive an airplane, we put it on our production and we get them knocked out pretty quick.
007 X-ray, I like that.
Yeah.
Is this yours, Darren?
Yeah, that's mine. I haven't flown it for a while, so I brought it over here and gonna get it flying.
Do you
When you have a 18-year-old son that's gonna be getting
Yeah.
his multi, I said, well, this is the airplane. I've owned this airplane for 30 years.
1007.
do you call it 007 X-ray?
Yeah, or
Yeah, 007.
yeah, or 007, whatever. You know, some of the controllers aren't as humorous as we are sometimes,
Yeah.
but let's just start. Let's go on the wing department. Kind of start you guys over there. This is a good stage to see this at because they're just being built up, and we'll see finished wings as we go through the process. But basically, the wings are started from scratch. We start out with the extrusions, and we get them wire jet cut out for all the holes and lighting holes in there. And then right behind you over here is our little jig that makes all of our ribs. And we start out with the extrusion, and we put all the supports, which you see on the wall, a finished rib and stuff. So they'll, you know, the whole wings basically start out from pieces and parts and makes up a wing and stuff.
Is this a cub wing?
Yeah, this is our wing, and
Nice rear spar.
yeah, this
Oh my gosh.
you got the front spar, you got the rear spar. We do a beef up on the rear spar to get the added gross weight, especially when we go up to 2,000 pounds. We put a spar strap on it, and basically when a failure mode on a spar or any I-beam is that, you know, they don't break like this. They roll, and we get them on our load, they just kind of torque and twist and
Just had a
stuff.
guy ground loop our Super Cub,
Yeah.
towing Super Club, and the rear spar.
The rear spar is the weak link on it, so.
It's straight, but in between it, there's a ripple.
So what we do is that we put a strap on there, and that keeps on the top cap of the spar, and that makes it a lot stronger. And there's actually an STC that Whip Air comes out with for the 2,000 pound gross weight increase for a Super Cub. So we basically do that for all of our Super Legends to beef it up and stuff.
How long ago did you start doing it?
All of our Supers have that.
Okay.
Yeah, so we came out with a Super Legend back in 2009, I think, or 10 or something like that. So we've been doing it for 10 years.
This is the same wing you would put on a restoration for a J3.
No, what we do is that for that aircraft, it's a certified aircraft, so we have to use PMA parts. So we get whole wing assemblies from Dakota Cub, and most of the aircraft here that we restore, we end up buying new wings for the aircraft. We're doing a Piper P-18 for a guy, and we found some splices in the spars from the past history, and time we go through and put new spars in and everything else, it's cheaper to buy the whole new wing and stuff. And a lot of the wood spar Piper Cubs, we end up buying new wings for those and putting new wings on them instead of replacing the wood spars nowadays. What are you on yours? Wood spar. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got at least one splice in
Yeah.
or more. That's the reason
You know, when you get ready to restore it, every year restore it, you're going to look at the economics and say,
I'm definitely one aluminum wing.
yeah, you're just going to say it's going to be so much better just put new wings on the thing and stuff. Plus, you ever take and jiggle the wing like this, you know, it moves around real good. But this is our wing department. So over here is kind of a what we call a pre-assembly area. You do. We're not going to talk about that. This is what we call the pre-assembly stage of an airplane. So what we do in this stage is that we have the airframe, which is an airframe right behind you that just came over from the paint shop, And we do what we call the pre-assembly, and this is where we're going to do all of our stringers, or trim system, our fuel lines, our floorboards, rotopills and brakes. We take the aircraft as far as we can take it before we go to cover, because it's a lot easier to work on this airplane before you put cover on it than covering it and stuff. So we just take as far. We even do a lot of the avionics work and stuff like that. So hopefully by the end of this week or maybe tomorrow, this airplane will be ready to go over to the covering department and stuff. This is a build assist program where the guy is from Utah, and he's building his own airplane. So this is kind of the process that we go. When you go through our build assist program, you're pretty much going through a whole production process. And so you'll go through and you'll work on your wings over in our wing department. You come over here and you work on your pre-assembly on your fuselage, and then you'll go up to cover shop, and you'll be doing your covering on your airplane. Then we do the paint, and then you come back and then you do all the assembly work on your, basically assembling your aircraft and stuff. This is a MOAC, version of it. We have the extra hatch back here, which opens up. And then we have drop-down windows that come down. So instead of bending down here to get access, you just drop these windows down and you get access to your baggage area, and keeps you from having to reach back up in the tunnel there to get stuff. An our MOAC over there, we actually extended it over here so that you get a lot larger hatch in there. And that's the swing a litter inside the airplane if we had to. We also changed the structure up a little bit. Any questions?
So this is new, this is a brand new structure.
This is a brand new structure.
You didn't use anything from Univer out in Colorado?
We do. We still use steel struts on our airplane that are sealed. So we buy those from them. We buy just a couple parts. I mean, these two parts here come from Univer.
Yeah.
We make our own pulley right here, but
Yeah, I love that.
but we still buy a few parts from Univer.
Yeah. You got the tension here.
Yeah, so basically, you just kind of, that's your trim system. That
Nice.
you got a little crank handle over here.
I like how you did that. Are these are the original casts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is the original cast.
So that's,
Do you have suppliers that have been with you though 15 years?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize, but I mean, when you come up to the airplane, you have to have suppliers. Like we have, all of our tubes come profiled. I should have showed you up in the weld shop. We had a kit out, but all the fish mouths, we call them, are already pre-profiled and stuff like that. So basically, you got a 110 piece puzzle that you're putting in our jig, and everything fits. I told them when we put an airplane together, I don't want to see any grinders out there. I want everything to fit perfectly. And with today's software and CAD software, we take and instrument panels right here, we're able to take that CAD information and convert it over to machine language, and we can mill out and cut and profile tubes and stuff like that, within the thousands, and everything fits just like a glove. And people ask, well, how your fuselage is built, and I says, well, they're probably built within about 3 thousandths. I mean,
Pretty good tolerance.
it's pretty good.
So how many suppliers in this plane are there? Would you say?
Oh, I have no idea.
100?
Probably. I mean, you got suppliers for your glass. You got suppliers that make a lot of your parts. We got a machine shop that makes all of our machine parts.
Cabling.
Cables. McFarland makes all of our cables for us. And and then we have a huge engineering package on this thing. There's engineering drawings and everything. Like our rudder pedals and stuff like that. This is a toe brake system that we have. So if you look at it, and all this is all machine billet type stuff. So it's all it has to be engineered and built. Why people want toe brakes on Cubs, I don't know, but a lot of people like them.
So you got a lot of spars already built.
Yeah, ribs.
For future, the guy that does that just is way ahead of everybody.
Yep.
So.
Well, no, but we wish they could build faster.
Oh,
but
okay.
yeah. This is a airframe that just came out of paint shop yesterday. It'll be prepped, you know, for pre-assembly here next. So we'll go over there and get the same thing put in, all the fuel lines, floorboards, rub pills, brakes, and so forth, and then it'll go over the cover. And I don't see an order number on it anywhere, but
Is that the landing gear for this one?
could be, yes. I don't know for sure. Yeah, the airplane business is basically, it's a parts business. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like anything else. You have to. That's our biggest delay on manufacturing is waiting on parts or, you know, supply chain management and stuff. So. This is another MOAC edition. You can tell. Got the drop down windows. So that little, you know, that MOAC airplane we came out with April. I mean, basically, if we have 4 airplanes being built now, they're all MOAC editions.
You're talking about this thing.
Yep, and you'll see that here in a minute. So it's going to be it was a real popular option. We put, you know, the IL 370 in it, bigger motor and stuff.
But it's experimental, right?
Yeah. These airplanes are all going out amateur built because everybody wants a higher gross weight.
Were these sales you made at Oshkosh the last year or two?
Yeah, part of it, I would say. That's Oshkosh and both Sunfun are both good sales events. Our best sales avenue is actually our customers. I mean,
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
That's the best.
We have a lot of people that trade in their AL3s and they'll trade up for a Super Legend and do that.
What are these?
Those are, well, that's actually where that one airplane was up there, but these are damaged aircraft. And what we'll do is sometimes when we have a repair, we'll scavenge parts off them. One was, if you remember the tornado in Florida a few years ago, we had a customer aircraft that got destroyed. One of those airplanes is that one. And the other one was one of our sales guys got into an accident and stuff, so.
I'm closest to leading edge slats.
Oh, yeah. That's another new toy that we're working on.
Very nice.
So,
Very nice.
yeah, those are leading slats that we're working on, and we have a set on aircraft right now. And
Now, have you flown like a helicourier or something like that?
yes, I have.
The automatic is kind of nice, but they just bang around. They don't do what I want them to do when I need them.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to crank them, or are you going to just let them aerodynamic?
These are aerodynamic, and basically what these do is these are already, you know, helicouriers actually retract in and out. So
I hate the way they bang around.
they bang around, but what they do is that they don't hurt you on cruise speed. And the ones that we put on the aircraft now, they're hanging out there and they kind of pivot as you get your angle tack.
Okay, yeah, and I saw the way you're doing the hinge point. Okay.
Right, they pivot. So they don't retract, but the problem is that they slow the airplane down about 8 miles an hour. So,
And have the gap.
so you have a gap. So it's always a give and take thing.
I'm
But
just wondering if you're going to crank them.
no,
Thought, but
it's a thought, but it'd be better to have something like the airliners, where they have hydraulics that extend the leading edge cuffs and stuff like that. But
I don't know, weight.
yeah, it's all weight.
Neat. That is very cool.
Starting to see these groups. I mean, I think I mentioned earlier that we have 3 airplanes being built here within 50 miles of here. So, and there's getting to be like these little motorcycle gangs of flying groups. I mean, they call the California guys the stall rats. They call the flying cowboys. That's like the Draco thing. So you're getting all these little organizations of flying clubs and stuff going out and doing backcountry type flying and stuff. So
We were given a tour to one, the classic jet aircraft.
yeah, see, there you go. So we're starting growing ponytails and everything else. And
Community groups.
there you go. So this area is just our composite shop. We do all of our own composite work here in the house. It's all vacuum bagged and and stuff. We use a lot of carbon fiber, which you see on rolls. You know, our floats are made out of a carbon fiber and Kevlar material, just for the impact resistance. You know, bulletproof vests are made out of Kevlar, so you know, our thinking is if you hit a stump or a rock, we don't want it to shatter. We want it to, you know, absorb the impact a little bit better. So, we produce our own floats. We do our own cowling, but to save the weight, we use carbon fiber and there's like our molds for our bottom cowling and stuff like that.
So you manufacture these yourself, yeah,
Yeah.
carbon fiber.
Our molds are right there for the floats.
Yeah. Very cool.
But you know, carbon fiber is a, you know, it's a pretty amazing. You know, everybody kind of picked that up, and it's
Throw that
just,
in the bottom of that plane over there.
yeah. So I mean, super light and strong, and
These things probably don't leak.
no, they're pretty tight. We find that more water comes over from the top than it
top,
does
yeah.
from anywhere else.
Yeah.
So, like I say, we're at the perfect airport here. We got a lake here, and then
You know how many Legends are on floats?
I would say probably
300,
25, 30.
Almost 10%.
Yeah. Anybody want any junk avionics?
section? Hey,
Some reason we were starting to get a big collection of stuff. I got it all out one day. I said, well, time to go on eBay, but I don't know if they're worth anything or not.
I can tell you what's
This
worth
is the
something.
guy that can do it for you.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of old stuff. But
I'll even sell stuff that we
I
don't
put
want.
those in my office and stack them.
yeah,
Put like airplane mode. It makes them look real nice.
Yeah.
so yeah, we're getting a big collection.
What are you doing for ADSB in your are they inside or the wingtip?
Well, if it has a fairly recent transponder, like a 327 or you know something like that, we'll put a GDL 82 in the system, and you know $2,000 and you're ADSB compliant, and it uses your old transponder. But if you have something like a AT50 or something trashy,
1576A.
that stuff, I mean, you're better off just buying a new transponder and doing it that way. I mean, but now everything we're doing for the last couple of years has all been, you know, 345s, where it's just ADSB in and out. I mean, but it really depends on what your wallet, but we can usually get you ADSB compliant with, you know, for a little over $2,000. This airplane here is sometimes how we get projects, and a lot of people say, hey, I want to buy an old Piper Cub or have a Piper Cub, and this is how they come in sometimes. We've probably done 70 plus Cubs, and I think I can tell you less than one hand of how many airplanes we didn't have to replace tubes. And sometimes we end up replacing the whole airframe with a new airframe and stuff like that. A lot of times we'll cut the tail off and put a whole new tail section on. But virtually, this is kind of the story, is being a tail dragger, you know, all your moisture and everything runs down the tail, rusts the tail out, and you can, you know, this is a good example of a good tail section right here. This airplane flew in, and you'll see rusted out old longerons and tubes and stuff like that. So in this case, whack the whole tail off, put a whole new tail section on.
Our PA-18, the ground loop, we're replacing the whole fuselage, starting from scratch. I'm terrified of what I'll see when we take the fabric off of it. It'll probably look like this.
You know, this is a sliding window on a Cub,
Yeah.
and you know, the days where the water used to run down this window and run down these tubes. I had an airplane, no joke, from Florida, came in, flew in, we pulled the fabric off, and this whole longeron was gone.
Oh my.
I mean, you could put your hand through it. I got pictures of it. And, you know, it's just, you know, those airplanes sat outside for years, and then the water ran down through here and concentrated down the bottom longeron right there, and it was completely gone.
So is this a trade-in for a new one?
This,
Barn?
this is a project that, that the owner probably won't do now because of what it costs to do it.
Just build a new
Well,
one.
it looks to me like it either got a tree fell on it or he put it
Yeah.
upside down or something.
So he abandoned the project. I offered him some money to buy it, and I actually lost contact with the guy, and
Now you're stuck with it.
and he bought it from a guy, and so I'm trying to track down the original owner and stuff so I can get the bill of sale, but I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It's been sitting here for about 6 months, and collecting storage fees right now. We'll walk around back here.
Wing over there?
Yeah, this is a ready to cover wing right here. Yeah. So this is one of our wings that they're ready to go to cover. You know, everybody asks, you know, all the parts, you can see little part numbers and all kinds of, you know, that.
I can't wait to get that airplane here. I said both canopies, a tall one and a short one. He said, I'll probably need the tall one. I said, that's
What is this of?
All right, let's go up to the MOAC, and then we can be wrapped up on this whole thing. We have to, this way is the best way. Let me dip your head down, don't hit.
Fully armed.
Fully armed. Those get more attention than anything else. They can care less about the airplane. They just want to see the gun. That's a
Camera mount.
camera mount.
It's got a third seat there.
Yeah, it's got a third seat. Why are you sketching? No, it's our airplane. Yeah. Some of the decals may offend you, but
No, not this great.
it's amazing to start out with a few, then people will bring me some decals at Oshkosh. I think we got like 6 of them people brought to us, so, you know. But basically the way this is designed, this has the three seats. You can put 3 full-size adults in the aircraft, 250 pounds in the baggage, and still be within your CG range of the aircraft. The rear seat is just like sitting in the middle seat. You put your legs on both sides of the seat, so you know it's fairly comfortable once you get back in there and stuff. And this is designed where you can put a litter up inside there, and the middle seat's actually reversible.
Take them out. Oh, reverse it.
Yep. So you can slide the the litter all the way up.
So have you made your presentation to the military? Right.
We have to go set up another point with them and do that.
PA-12 has a baggage compartment behind the rear seat. Mm-hmm. I can take the rear seat out and sleep in it.
Well, there's been 2 people that slept in this airplane.
Yeah.
Because you have 85 inches, when all the seats are folded down, you have 85 inches, and then you put a sleeping bag back there and camp out.
That's what I do.
This is just unlock it.
You unlock it and fold it down. And that has quick release pins on the middle, so you can literally in 30 seconds you can have that seat folded down and with the bar and everything.
What kind of motor?
This has the IL 370. It has 195 horsepower. I can usually get off less than 100 feet with this aircraft.
Yeah.
And we participated in the AOPA stall event, so
Yeah.
we went to Tullahoma, went to Frederick, Maryland, and then Livermore, California, and flew the airplane there.
Just recently there? Mm-hmm. I was supposed to fly in that event.
Yeah,
The airplane broke right before I was there.
it was a good event. The Frederick, Maryland one was a little wet, like it is today, but the weather was great on those.
How are you CG wise, especially with the third seat?
You carry 250 pounds in this baggage area, or this third seat area right here.
Okay, so you're talking from here to here.
From this area here is 250 pounds. So you could put 200-pound person in the front, 200-pound person in the back, and 200 pounds right here, and still be in your CG range. We got a big motor on the front. This is about 20 pounds back here.
Okay, well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I know the big motor is the best thing, but this is just fantastic.
Yeah.
This really is cool.
So
Wow. Get back there.
I've been back there.
Come on, Zeke. I get the photo.
I'll go in the front seat.
Competitor of Alaskan. Great division of
The great thing about these is that these tires are now certified.
Okay.
So they just got the STC for 10-inch wheels and Desser's tires for Super Cubs and on various other guns. So
Those are 31s?
yeah, these are 31s, and the Desser's they'll last 4 times longer than a bush wheel.
Bush wheels are 36.
Yeah, they're a hand laid up soft tire where these are all molded and stuff, and the rubber's a lot higher quality or it's not soft. And you can, I mean, we used to say every landing on a pavement was like 20 bucks.
Right.
Now we don't have to say that because of these. Now, I'll be honest with you, for backcountry work, I like the Alaskan bush tires the best because they're softer and they perform a little bit better. Have you ever seen how they make a bush tire? I mean, they hand lay up all that rubber in there and then they put it in a curing apparatus or whatever, and then I think it's pretty labor intensive. Yeah, that's why they're, for a 35, you're paying, well, $3,000 a tire for them.
You can't recap them, can you?
Well, I've seen people put bed liner stuff on them before, but yeah.
You know anybody that's used the 210 engine? 210 horsepower?
The 390,
390, IO 390.
yeah.
Constant speed prop.
We have a 370 with the Trailblazer prop,
Okay.
and when it just went out this week, has the performance flaps on it, the slotted flaps and stuff.
We were looking at putting that in our Super Cub, but it's too expensive. It's
Yeah.
About 80 grand for the engine, the prop.
Yeah, you talk about the King Cub, the STC they have for that. This 370 just got certified from Continental for 172s and stuff. So you can stick this 370 engine in a 172.
That'd be great. I noticed you put float attachments on all your airplanes.
That's an option.
Okay. I've noticed on a lot of your well
Yeah, a lot of people get them on there and
resell and whatnot.
resell and stuff. This has the TK1 suspension on it. It's all about suspension on these things as far as what you can do. This I said already has a 3-inch 3x3 landing gear on it, and then we got the T3 dual spring suspension on the tail with the baby bush wheel and stuff.
Well, it's interesting because I can see the 3 against the stock gear and it's dramatically.
Yeah. And then we have vortex generators on this, and we did a lot of testing on this. A lot of people, these vortex generators, just by the positioning of them, we were able to get the stall speed down about 5 miles an hour more on the different positions of those things. Well, the moving them forward and stuff. So we took double stick tape and stuck them on various spots going back, and the further forward we got, we noticed our stall speed started dropping. Well, kind of makes sense when you're a high angle attack, and if your air's bubbling over the top of the wing, it's missing those VGs. So you want those VGs where they're performing. So this one we're putting a smoke system in. So I need to hit Russell up for some smoke oil.
You don't do clip wings, do you? Smoke oil.
Oh, you ready? Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, I need a little smoke oil. We're putting a smoke system in this one.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That crap's expensive. You need to be able to buy it. Whole
These
side
are
from.
just like
Well,
So I can buy air
we used to have a source of getting it fairly cheap or free around
I
here.
paid 500 and something bucks for a
55 gallon drum.
55 gallon drum, and
Well-
I hear I can get it for 4 or something, but I hadn't found it.
Under the table on Core, the same thing they use for the transformers. And they used to, you better get it over there, but our source, Pete, don't work there anymore, so.
Well, I know.
We had a
I
55
know
gallon
a
drum
really
floating around
good
airport.
Encore source in Commerce.
Well,
Known him for 25 years.
apparently when they changed the oil out on those things, they throw it away, but it's exactly the same stuff as in.
Really?
Yep.
You said you had new wingtips?
Yeah, I don't know if they came in or not yet.
Oh. All right.
Somebody said they came in or?
No, I thought you said that you had new
Oh.
wingtips. And I'm doing your.
No.
This
I got new ones coming.
This is Ron. He's the painter.
Yeah.
We went
Hey,
to
Ron.
his shop.
Cool.
He's a guy that gets the credit for all this
Yeah, I get
nice
the
paint
credit.
job.
You paint that restoration yellow cub over there?
Yeah.
So he painted these. This is a Piper P18 that we're restoring. Brand new wings for a Super Cub. That's the fuselage right there. So you can see when we go through it, we go down to the bare frame, just like we build a new airplane and build it up again. And
It's a one-time deal, man. You want to do it
know.
right.
so every nut, bolt, screw, pulley, you name it, is field system. Everything is brand new in that thing. So
I noticed on this, I mean, obviously some people want it back just original as you can, but then this guy put in a sliding window and
he modded. Some people don't care. Well, the tri-pacer we did, I mean, the guy stuck $300,000 on a restoration on a tri-pacer, but
won a Lindy.
he won a Lindy Award. We have probably, I think we counted 7 or 8 Lindy Awards of airplanes we done at Oshkosh. So, we got, quite the reputation out there for high-end restorations. That's all we deal with this.
This one should get.
Yeah, this is hopefully another Lindy coming up. Now,
Get credit on their sign at Oshkosh?
well, the owner gets the trophy,
Well, I know, but
but
they
we
don't-
get credit for the restoration.
Yeah.
But
Get a sign on their sign.
we just try to stay on the high end stuff. I mean, we can't compete with the mall pawl shops, but this is an airplane that came in 6 months ago, and we're already at this stage. So, to me, our philosophy is we got to get them out the door to make the money. And
What percentage is restoration over building legends?
40% of it.
40 of it.
Yep.
Fascinating. I am fascinated.
Yeah. It's,
That was it. You don't do a clip wing for?
No.
Okay. I did-
We've been asked to do clip wings, but we haven't. We
a whole new set of jigs and stuff.
tend to keep ourselves pretty busy with R&D projects, but
Not much. You got to bend the tab here, and you got a few different angles. But it's actually a very easy mod. I was just curious because it'd be kind of neat seeing in the legend. But
you got to think about what's going to you always have to come out with something new,
yeah,
and with all this new short takeoff landing stuff and everything else, it's all performance changes.
watch what happens
So-
with Reno. This is something you could advertise with.
Yeah. Well, we got something special coming up.
Okay, good. That's a big thing this year that we had.
It's
fun.
going to be
unannounced.
unannounced. I can't talk about it.
Okay.
What would that be?
Money talks.
Mike could get the jump on that.
When will we hear about this? Next year?
Next year, Reno.
Okay.